Hello, welcome to Mr. Paul's Pantry. I'm Mr. Paul and it's nice to see you here again. If you're a new visitor, by the way, a very warm welcome. Now, this recipe today has taken a long time to get to the top of my to-do list. It has been requested many times, but unfortunately, when it's on the list, it doesn't matter how many people request it, I have decided to wait until it gets up the list, and it's taken all this time to do it. This is my about 3 years this next couple of weeks that I've been doing YouTube videos. All started because of the COVID pandemic. I was in the house, nothing to do, so I started making videos. And the list has, over those 3 years, has got longer and longer. But this last couple of weeks, I have had a deluge of people asking for this recipe. And strangely enough, this week, it's got to the top of the list. Now, it's a dish that's requested more than anything else in the Western world at Chinese takeaways. It's a dish that's requested in the top 10 in Chinese restaurants in the Western world. And it's that very famous sweet and sour pork. Now I'm going to show you how I make it. It's a Cantonese dish, slightly adapted for the Western palate, but very near to the original. So it's early this morning, it's still -4 outside. I'm going to go in the kitchen when I've finished my cup of tea and we'll get started. So I'll see you in a minute. So here are the ingredients for the batter for this sweet and sour pork. Very simple. It's ordinary plain flour, some corn flour, baking powder and water. Now the quantities will be listed underneath the video and also on the screen as I'm making the batter. So don't have to worry about trying to write them and remember them now. So it's just plain flour, water, that's cold water, corn flour and some baking powder. That's it. So here we are with the ingredients for the sauce for the sweet and sour pork. We've got, don't worry about the quantities again, they will be underneath the video where it says show more. Click that and you'll see everything, all the information under there. I will also put them on the screen as I'm making the sauce. So we've got some pineapple juice from the tin of pineapple. We've got some light soy sauce, tomato paste or puree, whichever you call it, some white wine vinegar, corn flour, and some sugar. Now the sugar, I'm using white sugar, you can use white or brown, doesn't make any difference. Just go through them again for you. Pineapple juice, light soy sauce, tomato paste, white wine vinegar, corn flour and some sugar. Okay? So here are the rest of the ingredients for the sweet and sour pork. The important thing, of course, being the pork. Now, in the recipe I have on my website, you can use, I have stated, use a pork fillet, pork tenderloin. I don't like using that because it's no fat on it, it's very lean and tender, but has very little flavour. I prefer to use belly pork, and as you can see, I've got my belly pork sliced, I've taken the rind off, and I've cut it into chunks. Not too small because it will shrink whilst we're cooking it. So along with the pork we've got an onion, a carrot, and I've got the pineapples here. I accidentally put them along with the other ingredients before, but it should go with this lot of ingredients with the pork, and a green pepper. Don't worry about the quantities at the moment. As I said twice before, they will be underneath the video and also on the screen when I'm making the recipe. So I'll go through that again. We've got the pork, one onion, one carrot, a small tin of pineapple and a green pepper. And of course you'll need some oil for frying. So that's it. Let's get on with putting the whole thing together. So first of all we're going to make the batter for this sweet and sour pork. Okay, the batter. So in is going the flour, the dry ingredients first. The baking powder and the cornflour. Just give those a mix, make sure they're nicely mixed together. And then we're going to add the water. Now the water, I've got 175 grams here. I may not use it all. I need a nice consistency that looks like double cream, okay? So we'll put most of it in and off we go. Just whisk it round, making sure it's no lumps. A little bit more. Just take your time, make sure that it's all mixed in, no lumps. It's still a bit too thick, that, so I'm going to put all of it in, all of the 175. The reason with the water varies, it does vary sometimes with pastry and things, because in a hot country like this, the flour gets dry, it needs more water. But if you're in a moist atmosphere, then it doesn't need as much water. So it's not always an exact science when you're doing this sort of thing. So there we are. That's all nicely mixed. And we're going to get the wok going now and get the pork cooked. Now I've got the wok smoking hot, as you can see. I'm going to pop in the oil now. I'm putting about 200 millilitres of oil in there. It doesn't need to be that deep, but it needs to be deep enough to fry things. We don't need like a deep fat fryer type situation. So once that's heated up, we're then going to get the pork cracking in there. And then once the fat is hot, I will turn down the heat slightly. We don't want to burn the thing. And I'll just try one piece. It's sizzling away. I think that's quite all right. It doesn't need to be too hot. So we'll put these in small batches. We don't want to crowd the pan here. Just wipe my hands. We're going to fry those gently on both sides until they're golden brown and nicely done. Don't jiggle them about yet. Just let them cook nice and gently before we start turning them over. Now this wok, by the way, I'm just going to tell you, is 40 years old. That means I've had it half of my life. Now remember, we don't want to fry this fiercely, because otherwise you'll get it burnt on the outside before the pork is cooked. We're cooking the pork all the way through at this stage, so keep it on a medium-low heat. Let's have a look now. Yeah, that's looking nice now. Just flip them over. And let them brown on the other side. Now that looks like the first batch is done, so I'm going to lift them out and I'm popping them into a colander here. So that any fat can drain off, and I'll get on with the next batch. So here we are with the last batch coming out now. There we are. And that's all the pork ready Now we'll carry on with the vegetables. Right, now I've emptied most of the fat out of the wok, just left about a tablespoon, got it smoking, and we're going to do the vegetables next. So first in go the onions, which I've chopped quite roughly really. Just coat those all round for a few seconds. Then we're also going to add the green pepper and the carrots. Stir fry that on a high heat, and also in there we're going to put the pineapple, which I've cut into chunks. We're going to stir that round now, stir fry it for 2 minutes. So there we are, 2 minutes is up. And I'm going to transfer those now to the colander. So we're going to make the sauce now. So first of all goes in the pineapple juice. And the sugar. Just give that a whirl round to dissolve the sugar a little bit. In goes the vinegar. And the soy sauce. And what I've done here is I've put a drop of water in with the cornstarch, the cornflour, and that's going in as well now. And we're just going to cook that gently until it starts to thicken. Once we're on a low heat, remember, because we don't want to burn it or evaporate all the liquid off. We want it to just nicely start to thicken. It's starting to thicken around the edges now. There we are. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to pop back in the pork. And the vegetables. And then give it all a good stir. Give it all a nice good stir. Making sure all the pork and veg are coated in that delicious sauce. Now what you don't want is, you don't want gallons of sauce running in the bottom of the pan. You just want enough there. If you do it as I've shown you, that's enough just to coat the whole caboodle, and that gives you a beautiful shine on all the vegetables and the pork. Now all that's left to do now is pop it out on a serving platter. Ready to serve to your guests. And I think you'll agree that looks very, very appetizing now. Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, go underneath, give it a thumbs up, and do share it with your friends on social media, please. Now, if you haven't subscribed for this channel, it's free to subscribe. Just press the subscribe button and a little bell will appear at the side. Click on that and YouTube will just let you know every time I put up a new video, so you won't miss one. So, Mr. Paul saying bye for now, and I'll see you next time. Bye!